The hunters had a name once, long ago. It was forgotten during the 1,000-year reign of Roak the Pitiless. When he and his armies took over their civilization, it was amazingly by popular vote. 10 years later, Roak declared his political enemies as prey. Then came the culling of the weak, the genetic tinkering, and the retrovirus plagues. 30,000 years later, the hunters had lost almost all of their culture, even their very names. Everything except for the hunt. What was once an empire spanning thousands of worlds became a mass of decentralized tribes, preying on anyone and anything they could. When humanity first encountered them, there was bloodshed. The hunters responded to the communication by firing upon the explorer vessel, just enough to damage it. The next week was spent tracking the wounded ship beyond its sensor range as it limped towards the nearest human colony. Then came the attacks. Random, and without warning, the hunter ships came in small numbers. Even when outnumbered, their superior technology was more than a match for the people from Earth. At first, the humans thought it was a prelude to an invasion. It took some time to adjust to the idea of a race of disorganized marauders. The hunters were downgraded from threat to all mankind to lethal shipping hazard. But, as human ships became more advanced, the hunters sensed better prey and came in greater numbers. None of humanity's so-called allies were willing to help. They scoffed at Earth's people, claimed that they should just accept the raids, and even raised their prices on weapons and technology. This posed a problem. And in true human fashion, the problem was taken apart, examined from every angle, and put back together in a way that would ultimately benefit humanity. Malik was a poor excuse for a hunter. Some days, he lamented that he was only 7.5 feet tall and physically weak compared to his leader. He was not a prince huntsman and had never boarded a prey ship nor taken any trophies. In the echelon that made up the current hunter society, Malik was only above the maimed and the females. And the maimed hunters were torn apart in the uselessness ritual. The captain of his ship was Prince Gahius. He and his knights had proudly completed 18 hunts successfully since setting out on their own. Malik was only a squire. His duty was to make sure the hunt ship's engines worked well. In exchange, he got food and lodging. One happy time, when he managed to increase the efficiency of the engines during a hunt, he was rewarded with a female. At first, she had cried loudly that she did not want to have a squire's child, and wondered what she had done to displease the prince. After failing to comfort the distraught female, who like all of her kind, were not allowed names, Malik offered the idea that this may be the prince's way of testing her. She was much more responsive after that. Today, as the prince and knights were planning their next raid, Malik settled into his burrow hold and connected to the great squire link. Usually, he would talk with all the other link squires on the different hunt ships, all bemoaning their situation. However, today, there was an unusual message waiting for him. It asked if he wanted to become larger. Which squire wouldn't? Thought Malik as he answered affirmatively. Almost immediately, another message appeared. This one detailed a genetic cocktail he could make that would increase his size and bulk so dramatically that he would tower over any prince. All he had to do to get it was answer a few surveys successfully. The questions were seemingly random. Malik answered inquiries into his childhood, how many hunters were on his ship, what his favorite foods were, current hunting grounds, and so on. Every time he thought he was nearing completion, a message would state that he was not qualified for that particular survey. But that another one was more suited to his demographic and that the growth formula was almost his. It was almost as if Malik was on a hunt himself. Meanwhile, Prince Gahius was eagerly waiting a message of his own on the royal battle.net. A few moments ago, he had received notice that an old prince had been injured in his last hunt. The old prince wanted to bequeath all of his many trophies to someone he felt was worthy of them and had heard about Gahius's reputation. All he needed was the location of Gahius's hunt ship so they could rendezvous for the uselessness ritual and the passing of the trophies. Despite not ever hearing of the old hunter, Gahuus eagerly sent off his ship's coordinates and was now waiting to find out the exact time the old hunter's ship would arrive. That was when the door to his strategy chamber was blasted off, revealing a large group of armed, angry females, dressed in his knight's battle armor. A week ago, the females joined a females-only databook club. Their first free selection detailed how many rights and liberties the females and equivalents of other species had. Incensed into a cold rage by their inequality, the alpha female grouped her compatriots together and decided to follow one example from the databook. The group had planned and raided the armory and were now demanding from their prince outrageous things, like individual names and the right to assist with the hunt. It was at that point a fleet of human warships arrived right on top of them. The last message a day's Prince Gahuus received before he and his ship was obliterated was, "Problem Hunter. You mad?" The author's name and the link to original text is in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video.